My dearest friends, welcome to my channel. I'm Karin Mari from Heart to Heart, and I'm back with another episode of the series where we explore what is channeling. I have a beautiful guest, Theodora, and we know each other since some time, and I just would love that you introduce yourself.
No problem. Hi, thank you for having me. I'm Theodora from TFI Reiki. I'm a multi-award winning Reiki Master from based in Kent in the UK. I work specifically with humans, but also with horses. My areas of expertise tend to be I work a lot with trauma recovery, but also general stress release for the humans, and for the horses the same quite a lot of the time. I've been in business for 3 years, and my business has grown and developed alongside myself. I'm just so grateful that my life has taken the turns that it did to get me into this space, because I mean, yeah, 6 years ago I could never have imagined that I'd be doing what I do now, and to never feel like I'm working, which is amazing, and to know that, you know, I'm able to do something that I love, and it comes so naturally to me. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing sometimes.
Yes, it sounds amazing. And we both met in 2019 through the Light Workers Call to Duty. And it's amazing when you said you started 6 years ago, that we will go deeper in that. And in 3 years, I don't like the name business, but you follow your soul mission, and you live it and you work in it. And I had an amazing session last year. I remember I had a lot of pain in my shoulder, and you helped me really. I got animals from me. To release. It's so hot in France, and we have a lot of trees here. And I can highly recommend, and I will write all your contact information in the description box, so for everybody who wants to connect with you. And you mentioned that you started this path, I don't know if you started it, but 6 years ago you were on a totally another place, you mentioned. And how did you find out? Sorry.
Well, with I'd gone to I mean, in my previous life, I had, you know, no idea about energy or spiritual stuff or anything at all, you know. And it was after my father died, I had gone to a chiropractor, and she had mentioned that she was a medium, and she had said to me, you know, you're going to end up doing Reiki, and I didn't know what that was, and it was all sounded completely bonkers to me. But anyway, I ended up going to see someone that had taught her for a reading, and you know, she kind of said lots of things about my life, and then she said to me, eventually I ended up going for, she kind of said to me, you're at a crossroads in your life, and you know, you can carry on down one path as it's been, or you can open Pandora's box, and but what you need to know is that once you open it, there's no going back. And I just was kind of like, well, can't be any worse than it has been before, so get the box open. And that was it, really. And literally, I mean, I remember that night coming home and being woken up in the middle of the night. I sat bolt upright in bed and I heard children's feet running down wooden stairs, and my stairs are carpet, and I was like, oh God, there's something here. And I just knew that the box was very much open, and I was suddenly aware of a lot of stuff going on that I had no idea about previously. So I kind of just started, going to a circle and learning how to read energy. And I started off in a beginner's circle, and I remember we were doing psychometry, which is reading of objects. And I remember holding someone's, like, a ring that they had and reading the energy from it. And my teacher instantly said, she was like, you're good at this. Like, it. This is not, you don't need to be in the beginner's class. You're going to progress very quickly. And so then I sort of carried on with that. And, one day, and the healing side of things, which got me into the Reiki, came across because, again, in circle, I was in a meditation, sitting under a big tree, taking healing for myself. And in my mind, I saw a list of 5 people's names. And so I just thought, okay, well, I'll just send the healing to them instead. And didn't really think anything of it. That was on the Wednesday night. And then over the next week, I bumped into each of those 5 people, which was strange enough as it is. And I would say to them, like, oh, how have you been? And they were like, oh, not great, or I've had this going on. But Wednesday night or Thursday morning, I woke up and I just felt better. And after it happened, after the 3rd person said it to me, I was like, okay, there's something going on here. So that's when I signed up to do a Reiki course, because I didn't think I'd ever do it professionally at that point. I just wanted to know that if I had healing ability, or the ability to send healing energy, I wanted to know that I was doing it within the correct parameters, and actually learn how to do it, not just be winging it, basically. And so, so then I did the first day of the first Reiki level 1. I just had this feeling come over me of, this is what I need to do. Wow. And so I instantly signed up for the 2nd level. And there were 6 weeks in between the 2. And in that time, I heard a voice. One day I was walking the dog and I heard, do horses. And so I was like, okay. And then I did an animal course alongside an animal Reiki course alongside the other one. And then that was it, really. That was in the April that I did the level 2. And then that's when TFI Reiki was born. And I started with the Sui Reiki to begin with. And then in November, I did an Angelic Reiki course. And that, for me, it really shifted things. In my experience, it's a higher frequency energy. And the master that taught me said it was like hardcore healing. And I'm always been a bit hardcore, so it made sense to me that would be the thing that I would be doing. So and then that's been it, really. It's just been, and it's kind of always gone alongside my own personal healing and my own personal journey. But I can definitely see how, as I have sifted through my own stuff and got much clearer and stronger in my own energy and connection to myself, the energy that comes through is so much clearer, so much more powerful, and the messages that I'm able to pick up or deliver are much more clear and accurate.
Wow, and this happened all what you told me there in 2016, in 1 year. This was, when I count right, 6 years ago.
So that was when I opened Pandora's box, but I wasn't actively doing anything. I was going to circle, and I realized that I was starting to follow my intuition, like I suddenly wanted to go out on dog walks all the time, even though I didn't have a dog, and I had this pull of I wanted to be in nature. And I remember borrowing friends' dogs, and I needed to be outside. And now that's why I have to walk every day. Walking for me is a meditation, and it is an integral part of my connection to myself and everything else. But yeah, so that kind of started then, and
Wow.
and there were just, and I was learning about energy and frequencies and vibrations and these things. So it was all just kind of slowly happening, but but the real channeling aspect didn't really open up until I was attuned to Reiki.
So when I listen to you, then I see that you were massively guided and you were following your guidance, even without being conscious. And just a question coming out when you talked about that this woman said you're opening Pandora's box. Were you frightened in that moment? Yes. No.
No. I just, I had no idea. I just thought, yeah, come on then, like,
Beautiful.
It wasn't
amazing.
Yeah, it wasn't really it wasn't. I just was like, yeah. I mean, and that's, I think at that point, I had nothing to lose, and everything to gain.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I normally say. Is it can't be any worse than anything that's happened beforehand. So let's just see what happens. Get it open.
It's
and
interesting.
Thank goodness I did.
Yeah, but you said that the passing of your father was really shifting something, as I heard that several times. And Antoinette Thompson, for example, she had the big awakening after her both parents passed away, and it seemed to be a big opener often when a close person is passing for a lot of things. And then you said that you heard in that night children's steps on and you knew that this is something not real. How was this in that moment?
Yeah. I mean, my stairs in my house are carpet. So I knew that, but it was in my house. Like that's, this is the thing, and I was massively skeptical, and I still didn't really know I believed that not ghosts, but spirits were there, or, that I was now aware that the afterlife existed because of experiences that I'd had. And that's the thing, like all of my belief has come through personal experience. I've not, and that's always kind of been the way for me. I've never been someone that, has read loads of books and then something has happened. Normally it's the other way around. Something will happen and then I'll find a book on it and I'm like, oh, that's what that was. So it is definitely being able to follow that intuition but again, it was kind of just opening up to the different types of energy that are available. And I've done mediumship courses, and I know I've done some trance mediumship, but that actually has helped me more with the Reiki, and especially with the horses, about blending the energy. So it's not, I don't class myself as a medium, and I definitely don't work as a medium, but the practice and what I learned through learning mediumship practice has given me the ability to communicate and pass messages through with the horses. So I can see why I had to go through that stage to get to where I am now.
For me, this sounds amazing. And I, now by myself, that often I don't understand my way. I don't understand why it's getting better in the meantime, but because I think I trust more. Why I have to call or to do something. And then I know, even when I don't know yet, it will make sense later, that when I look back I see the clear line often. And that, for me, when I listen to you, it's such a straight way in a way. So going from there to there to there and coming to the point, where are you today? And just, I'm curious, did you have contact with horses before? Did you did horse riding before, or was it something totally new for you?
Yeah, I mean, I started riding when I was 8, but I had always been obsessed with horses. So like, I remember me being 3 or 4 years old. I lived in central London, like there were no horses around, but I remember I had a book of horse breeds, and I had read it until the covers fell off, because I was just, I could not get enough of them. And yeah, so but I mean, it was quite funny. I loved being around them, but riding has actually, it's taken up until this year for me to actually enjoy riding. So I was actually always terrified, but my love for them kind of always pushed through that, no matter what, you know, injury I had or whatever. I always just knew that I had to be around them, and even when I'd been working with them, if I then went away from that, I'd always come back to it. And now I just accept that they're a massive part of my life and soul, and I don't ever want to be apart from them again. But, you know, again, you have to kind of work out things for your own along the way. But yeah, they work on a very high level, and they're actually, it's funny, I don't see them as animals, as horses, because for me, I just see their souls and their personality, and they respond to the world in exactly the same way as we do. You know, they have individual personalities. They're all completely themselves, and they see what's going on, and they interact with everybody, and they're humans, and the horses, and it's completely complex, their lives, just like ours are. And that's kind of something that is I think lost sometimes, is the individuality of them. You know, sometimes they can be seen as just a horse that has a job, and kind of treated like machines, and their emotional depth isn't given the credit and time and respect that it deserves. And I think quite a lot of the time, that's what I'm kind of just there to do, is to pass on emotion, you know, from them to their owner, and, you know, just to say, this is what's going on, and thank you for this, and I don't like this, and, you know, stuff like that. Just being able to communicate and pass on what's going on. But 9 times out of 10, actually, it's funny, because the owners, most of the time, I'm not necessarily telling the owner anything they don't already know. And that's the thing. It's like I'm always like, you're already communicating with your horse. You already know your horse inside out, back to front. It's just that I trust the message that I pick up, and you don't. And that's it. So it's, you know, what you were saying about trust is completely the same. Like that, and when I first started out, I would try and work out what I was hearing or seeing or whatever, and try and decipher it. And now I don't do that at all. I just play it like catchphrase. I say exactly what's presented, because it doesn't make any sense to me, but it will probably make sense to the owner. So you just have to, it is about learning to trust and just go with it and flow with it. And, you know,
I will go in there to that deeper, and I just want to remark, because I was terrified my whole life by horses as well. I was really afraid of them, and I started 4 years ago to learn horse riding. I have a little farm here nearby, and the woman who is there told me that horses have a higher frequency than human beings, so they lift up our frequency. This was impressing me. And the other thing, what was so interesting for me in my reflection, that horses understand yes and no. So when I give a direction, I have to be clear and not say, maybe you can go a bit to the right. Then the horse will do what the horse will do. what was a massive teaching for me to be clear with a horse.
Yeah.
And I stopped it for the moment because of turbulences in my life. And I think I will come back to that. And just now I will come in because this question, how, and we go to the horses and then to the human beings, how do you receive this information? You get clear messages? Is it like words, feelings? I don't know. How is it feeling inside you?
It varies. So it's a mixture of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I will feel things in my body.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's tightness somewhere, or block somewhere or something like that, I can feel it and then help to shift it. Quite often I will hear things, see things.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I do get just feelings, and I just have to try and describe a feeling. With the horses, sometimes they will give me, to try and explain their personality, they will show me like a human stereotype or character, to try and make it easier to kind of picture them in your mind. And sometimes it's just a knowing, like there isn't anything to decipher. It's just the information is there and I'm just speaking it. And sometimes with the horses as well, if they can speak through me. So I will start, if it's them speaking, I hear it in my mind or in my ear. But I then, for me, if I'm trying to speak, it comes out very stuttered. And it's because it's their energy working through me, rather than me just being able to, and I can snap in and out of that quite quickly. So it's easy to tell the difference between whether it's me just being okay, or it's them trying to work through me, which
so
sounds
really
a lot
like channeling. Their energy is coming through you, and as you are able to speak, you can put it in words.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Amazing. And when you work with humans, is it equal, or are there differences in that? What do you describe that?
It's slightly different with the humans. So with the horses, I everything is in real time, so I just go along as I'm doing it because I'm speaking to the owner. But with my human clients, it's they just lie on my massage bed. I sit at their head. I put my hands on their shoulders, or kind of here, and they just lie there for 45 minutes, however long it's going to last. And I then remember everything that I have picked up on, everything that was being released. And again, it can depend on whether that's visually, auditory, physically, whatever. But then at the end, I kind of just come on whilst they're coming back round and back into their body and waking up, or however it is. I normally say to them, share with them what I experienced, about what was being shared by their energy. And then if they want to, they can share with me about what they experienced, but they don't have to. And so it all just sort of, so it's slightly different, but it is essentially the same.
So what I understand, you get images, you feel also in your body what's going on in the other body, and you get words as well.
Yeah.
And do you have?
But it's always slightly individual.
Yeah.
It's always slightly individual because it depends on the person's energy that I'm picking up on, and that's kind of what's so nice about it in a way. And that's what I love, is that they are always getting a completely individual service, completely unique experience every time, that is 100% catered to them in a way that you could never write. You could never make it up, because that's the beauty of it and why I think it's so powerful. So
I have experience, and maybe you can relate, that I get information for the other person when it is a very visible or artist person. So I get images more, and in the way the other one can best understand. This is what I experienced. Can you relate to that?
Yeah. I mean, whenever I think it depends on the situation, actually. When I'm working with clients, I always set the intention for the messages to be easily understandable and clear. But equally, sometimes when I'm not working, I can still pick up on things and end up channeling information, and that is really just that I just have to write it down, and I'm seeing things, and that's more of a knowing, and it's working through me, and I'm having to just write down whatever messages I'm being shown and to then pass it on to whoever needs it.
Yeah, that I know very well. And do you have for yourself, when you say sometimes it's really pure channeling, do you have for yourself an explanation where these informations are coming from?
I mean, I think it's there are different experiences depending on where it's coming from. I definitely have, and with I mean, it's difficult because it's however you want to label it, I guess, is down to your own individual beliefs. But I definitely, I have different feelings and pick up different messages depending on whether it's loved ones who have passed, or there is a very specific guiding angelic voice that I hear when I'm unsure about something. If I need to make a decision, I had it, for example, when I bought my horse. I didn't know, I was taking a massive risk on him, and I had no idea, and I really, on paper, should not have bought that horse. And I heard, give him a chance. And I just went, yeah. And that's the thing. And equally, after he died, and I went to try and look at another horse, and I heard, not now. It's just not now. Okay, it's not the right time for another horse. So, there are these things, but then equally, there are also times when I have felt very connected to what I can only describe as God energy. And so that's the thing. There's everything is floating around at the same time, and it's just depending on what you need to be connected to at that moment, the messages that you need to receive in that moment, and being open to it, really. But I think one thing that I've definitely learned over the years was, when I first discovered all of this, and definitely from when I discovered energy healing and experienced how powerful it was in 2019, I think I spent a lot of the couple of years always trying to go up. And actually, I think it was another form of disassociation, because actually I still couldn't cope with what was going on in real life and how I felt. And so it's been a process of, I've always known that actually it wasn't about going up for me, it was about bringing the energy down and embodying the energy that you can channel and receive, and that purity of light and unconditional love, and being able to hold that in your everyday life and just radiating that as much as you can, I think is, in my opinion, that is the path of ascension. And it's definitely how I look to live my life. But I can see how it would be, and I now am so much more grounded, and I live my life every day, and I'm not sitting always trying to be connected, because actually all that did was prove how disconnected I was. Now I more connected than ever because I'm not constantly trying to connect.
Yeah, it's so it's beautiful. Thank you very much. It's so beautiful that you bring this up, because I've got the feeling this is in general the perception of spirituality we had a long time, that we have to be so open here. And for me, especially this year, is really coming back and becoming friends with our physical bodies, and really embodying. I don't like the term spirituality so much, but it is saying embodying this being, spirit, body, and soul in one, and not separating that. And I know that you work a lot with your body as well, and I found this really amazing how you find yourself in this body as well, and not only in the spiritual, or not, maybe it's better to say you stopped separating those things, the spirit and the body.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the more that I had experienced a lot of physical trauma, and I had no connection with my body, and you know, it was part of the process of me losing so much weight and creating safety within my mind, then enabled me to created safety in my everyday life, and that connection with myself and all of these parts of myself that had been so disconnected due to various traumas. Now I'm able to feel the energy so acutely in my body, and not be overwhelmed by that. That's the thing, and that's what's taken the, you know, when you've experienced trauma, our bodies shut down to stop the bad feeling, but what it also does is it shuts us down from any kind of pleasurable feeling. So, you know, and that's been a massive journey for me over the past couple of years, is reconnecting into my body and knowing that actually, one, on a basic level, it's okay to feel again, but two, that we can handle pain and we can handle pleasure, and it's not overwhelming, and you don't have to disassociate, and you can stay present with it and enjoy it, and you know, let that energy move through you. And the connection and the shift in my life since I've been able to really start working with that energy down in my body is huge. And there's such a massive shift in my self-confidence and love for myself, and it's much easier now to click back into it if I become disconnected, you know, rather than having to go up. Actually, it's just like, oh, just get back into my body again, you know. And that's the grounding of it, is I am safe and I'm okay, and actually it's beautiful. And so I'm super grateful for that. And there's been a lot of work to get to that point, and I've needed, you know, I've done a lot of somatics, and you definitely have to go into the pain to be able to release it, to be able to come out the side and get to the pleasurable stuff. But it's totally worth it, you know, as long as you're working with, I've found a really amazing group of practitioners who hold such amazingly safe and trusted space, that I've been able to go to depths that I never imagined, and it's really transformed me and my life. So, you know, it's
beautiful. This is really, I love so much that you bring that up, and I can relate, because I was the most part of my life not in my body and living parallel lives. This life I lived, and then I had this idea where I have to be. And my experience is, the more I come in my body and I make this experience, yes, I feel the pain in my body, and I feel safe at the same time. And when I'm not in my body, the pain is there, or the idea of pain, or the bubble of pain, and I'm not safe. There's a lot of stress going on at the same time because I'm not here where I am. That's really amazing. And when you find people around you who work on the same, everybody unique for sure. We have all our unique ways, but the work together and holding space for each other because there's an understanding. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's, you have to start working with the body to be able to, you can get to a certain level of spiritual development, I guess, just using the mind and going up and stuff, but really to shift past it, you need to start working within the body. And it was interesting what you were saying about pain. So in December, when I fractured my spine in 2 places, and because of the drugs that I was on, the opioids, I remember trying to give myself Reiki and I couldn't. There was nothing. It was like I was in this horrible cloud of ick because of the pain medication, and I so quickly wanted to get off of them because I could feel how disconnected I was from everything around me and from myself. And I kind of, I vowed, I was like, I need to be off these ASAP. And it was a real, it felt like coming home again once they were out of my system, and I could connect in and I could feel the energy flow again. I was like, oh yes, I'm back. As much as my pain, I was in more pain, but it was manageable and yeah,
it was natural. It was natural. Yeah. It was not cutted, the connection between you and the pain. And it was, when you break your spine, for sure there's pain, and you have to feel it, not to make the wrong movement and think that the pain in its origin, it's nothing bad. It shows you something is not in order in our system. So, and we have to look at that, or we have to take care of that part. And so I could open up, but we will not go there, what our medical system is doing in this world, but we will not go there in this interview. What I after this is really, thank you for bringing this up. This is something I think this is so important for many people to hear in the spiritual world, but for sure for everybody, how important it is to make peace with our physical systems and to see us as human beings with a soul, with a heart, with an openness, that here this body is so precious. It's our home, for me.
Yeah, it's definitely been a massive part of my journey. I lost 8 stone, and
wow.
And so it was really, when you start off thinking, you think, oh, I'll get thinner and then I'll feel better about my body, and you kind of you have this image of your head of, oh, I'm going to look like super toned and la 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 la, and actually then you lose the weight and you're like, oh no, my body is softer and moves in ways that it's never moved before, and hangs differently and all of this kind of stuff. And you have to go on a whole new journey of acceptance and finding love for yourself and your body, and that's the thing that I find is gratitude for my body and actually what it's done. And it's interesting. I feel there is still a disconnect between me and my body, because now where I work out a lot and I feel so physically fit and strong inside where all the muscles are, and I feel smaller than my body actually is. And there is and because sometimes if I move, it's like my inner body moves and then my outer body catches up because of, and I've looked in, I know that I one day I know I will have surgery to remove the skin and the things that are still on the outside, because it feels like a weight of the past and the trauma and the safety that I felt that weight gave me. And I know that when I'm ready to really finally let that go, then it'll be time for me to have the surgery. But it's definitely interesting how there's so much comparison in the world, and we self-degradate about, oh, my body doesn't look like anybody else, but actually that comparison it's just marketing. And if we stop looking at how companies tell us we should look and actually look at the people around us and the people that we experience in our everyday lives, everybody is completely beautiful and individual, and there are, and that's the thing, it's embracing what's in front of you and not in real life and and loving that, and that has definitely released a huge amount of shame and self-hatred and things about my body, and I still have moments, I have things of like, oh, sometimes I'm like, oh, I shouldn't like myself as much as I do, because there is still this intrinsic
but I just,
of, because I am not skinny, and because I have loose skin and because my body wobbles, I'm not beautiful. Nah. Like, and that's the thing. And then I'm walking around the gym in like a crop top and I'm like, yeah, rocking it. And I just don't care, because I'm hot and I'll need to take my top off because I'm sweating. It's just embracing who you are and what you're all about. And if someone else doesn't like that, then cool, that's their opinion and they're entitled to it, but it has nothing to do with you and your body, which is all about you and how you feel.
This is a huge way to come there, and in our society since eons, women are disempowered by this image how we have to be, and it is in our soul system, it is implemented. And I know this as well, and I know that I never felt really okay with my body, just when I was really thin and I lost weight because I was not good. I felt not good. But I think the really empowerment is to come in peace how we are. And another thing coming out when I listened to you, when you said, when you're ready to let this go, you will have surgery. Maybe when you're ready to let this go, your body will adjust, and it is not needed that you have surgery. Maybe this is a concept as well.
I mean, no, there is a like, I have so much physical skin, like it's not going to contract into a way that is ever going to be comfortable. And that's the thing. It's not, for me, the surgery part of it is basically, I can't have the surgery until I've had children, because there'd be no point, because everything's going to stretch again. And because I had been fat and thin and I've lost weight, multiple times, I don't have any elasticity left in my skin to be able to hold that. And it's not a cosmetic thing for me. It is a feeling of,
I understand.
There is a heaviness to my body because of the skin that I am holding and carrying around with me. I'm probably carrying an extra 2 or 3 stone in weight now of just this excess which doesn't need, it doesn't need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to experience life without that weight. And I'm not talking about it in a physical sense. I mean the weight of everything that represented.
Yeah, I understand that. There is the energy trapped in that, the old energy trap. This is what I pick up.
Like that's the thing. It still feels like it's holding me back, and it still feels like it's not. The outer doesn't correlate with how I feel inside. And that's what I want to experience. I want to it's such an amazing feeling to feel fit and healthy and strong after so many years of not. I love that feeling, and I just want that to correlate, and
with your body.
And to experience that in its entirety.
Yeah, I just when I listen to you, I can feel more than the skin that is too much, the energy that is trapped of the old protection that is not any longer needed, or will one day not any longer be needed. Maybe there rest lasting for this moment of time as we shed layer after layer. I can feel that.
And I feel that, I think that because it will come, I think a huge part of me is about becoming a mother. And so I think that will be a huge turning point. And the physicality of, of pregnancy and all of that will be a learning curve, and will help me to, again, be ready to completely let go of.
It's interesting.
It's exciting.
Put this out because I've got this image, and maybe when you become a mother and the hormonal change is so, I think you will not need surgery, but I put this in the air that your cell system could change in a way that this is possible, that the elasticity you miss at the moment will come back. Just a feeling I got. That.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's great. I'm open to it.
Okay, perfect.
Definitely open to that. I'm not a fan of surgery. I'm not a fan of pain. So
and just I think we have so much more capacities as we can imagine often, and this is opening up as well, to open up that healing. What we have experienced on an emotional and spiritual level a lot can, on the same amount, take place on a physical level. That we don't, and this is not just personal. This experience is not there. This is collective. So, and the collective is we have to go to a doctor to be healed. So, and we're coming more and more back that we can, that our bodies have totally another capacity, and that's a block is here and not there.
We'll see. I'm definitely open to it. If my body wants to start shrinking, then go for it, guys.
So just to come back a bit to our main topic, and maybe we can have another talk about body.
Yeah.
This is really, I love this a lot. So can you control when you channel or not? Can you stop it? Can you say in this, there, yes, and here I'm overwhelmed, stop it?
No. And yes. So it's, I mean, I don't, if something is, I'm not walking around channeling all day, every day, but equally I am, and I think I'm open enough on a general scale that I am aware of things that are happening, even though I'm not necessarily involved with that person or that situation. I can still, my energy field is big enough that I know I will start picking up on things that are happening elsewhere. And I'm always open to receive. So if something needs to come through, I let it come through. But specifically when I work before a client, I will specifically ground and open up and connect in specifically to be in that channel for Reiki. So yeah, I guess it's yes and no, you know. That's definitely, I definitely am. I don't walk around trying to connect to people or things or whatever like I had done in the past. Now I'm just cracking on with my life, you know, day to day. And if something comes through, then, you know, it does. And if it doesn't, quite often I'll know if I'll start yawning. Is a big sign for me that I'm releasing energy for someone or something. It happens a lot in sessions. So if I start spontaneously yawning, I'm like, something's going on with someone somewhere. And then I know.
But it is not, you go, you have, I don't know, dinner with friends and you got all the time information what's going on, and then you can say, stop, this is the private.
I mean, again, it can happen. It has happened sometimes that I pick up, you know, if there's a message that I am being asked to deliver to them, if I have tried to not say it, I will be shouted at and the voice just gets louder and they're like, you need to say this. And I'm like, okay. And I've had it before where I remember I was in a shopping center and I was trying to get my phone fixed, and there was this guy next to me and he was so anxious about trying to get these photos off of his phone, and I wasn't, you know, really paying attention. And I kept hearing, I'm sorry, I love you. I'm sorry, I love you. And I was like, I didn't know what was going on. And then eventually he said that his son had committed suicide, and that the last photos that he had of his son were on this phone, and that's why he hadn't backed it up, and that's why he was so desperate to get the photos off. And I always regret not saying anything to him because he walked off, and in my head I was like, I should have. I felt it was his son. And I didn't say anything because I was scared that he would think I was bonkers, or, you know, had just made it up because I'd heard him say this story or whatever. And so that was a big lesson for me to now, if something's coming through, I just have to deliver it, because you know, I don't know. I'm just the channel for it. And I don't know, you know, I never know what's going on in that person's life, that it might make a massive difference. So you just have to, you know, I have to get my own ego out of the way and not care, and just trust that whatever's being delivered needs to be delivered.
So this leads directly in the question I ask always: how do you know that this is a channeled message, so channeled from a higher source and not your ego? How do you know that?
Just feels different and it sounds different. My voice is always worried and is always asking questions. If it's me, if it's my ego, I know, you know, when and it's my face changes, my brow furrows if it's me thinking. Whereas if it's, and also I don't have, if I'm channeling, I don't have to try. There's no effort involved. It's just there. And it's when you're quite often I get things when I first wake up in the morning. I will channel a lot, like a lot of things that I write. If I write things on Facebook, if I'm writing a Facebook post, I will quite often, I'll wake up and I'm like, this is what I need to write, you know, it's not. Whereas if I sit and start trying to think of, oh, I need to put a post out or whatever, it's not coming. It doesn't come in the same way. So that's kind of, yeah, I think that's the thing. When you are present, everything does just flow. There is no effort required. So yeah, that's kind of how to, and also you just feel it in your body in a different way. And if I ever need to check, you know, is this thought me or not, I just, you know, tune into my heart. I remember that my heart's there, and I'm like, oh, hang on a minute, if I'm having to connect in, this is probably my head and not my heart. And then you just see if the message stays the same or if it changes. And you know, that's the thing, you can always you learn how to double check eventually. You know,
I think a big part is experience as well, and confirmation then in these experiences of other people that you deliver information, and they said, how could you know that? And well, this is touching me, or this is what I needed to hear, or I was thinking about that. And then you have the confirmation that you are transmitting a message for somebody, and it's not something you imagine or I mean, this is such a, because I think we are more than our ego. But sometimes, and I like that you said, when you're worrying or when you're a bit afraid about or not trusting the message, then it's mostly your ego. And this is what I heard often in these interviews. When worry is in anxiousness, then it's not a pure divine message.
Yeah, I mean, you know, especially with clients, I don't like to know. I don't like to know a full history. I don't necessarily want to know what's gone on, because actually, it's, you know, it's with the horses as well. A lot of the time there's a kind of like, oh, I want to know what happened in their past. I'm like, I'm not here to tell you their story. I'm here to help them feel better. And if they want to share what's happened to them with you, then I will pass that on. But actually, a lot of the time, they just want to leave it in the past. They just want to let go of it, and that's it. And the story, quite often, is that it's just a story. It's just something to feed our ego. It's just something to make the owner feel better, because they can then feel like they've rescued their horse and you know. Nah, I'm here to just shift the energy and get everybody now feeling as good as they can. And that's, you know, what it's about for me. And I mean, I've had multiple experiences where I've, you know, that's the thing, because I'm just reading the energy that they're giving off. I don't know who this person is. I don't know what's going on, but because you're reading the energy, you're right. And there are things that I cannot have known. And yet people will go, okay, yeah, you're spot on, or yeah, that makes perfect sense. And you know, and that's the thing. And the more that it happens, now you get more confident with it. But it's that's the thing. Again, it comes down to trust. And I think you know, I can definitely see the correlation between people who have experienced trauma and them finding a spiritual path, because actually trauma is inherently, it makes you not trust anything. And so the major lesson that you have to learn is to trust. So, you know, we're all given what we need to be able to get over the stuff that we've experienced, you know, so that we can grow and move closer to that being unconditional love and that channeling and all of that we talked about to begin with, you know. So it always comes full circle in the end.
Yeah, you're right. And then there's a gift in the trauma as well, even when we all would have wished not experience it, that it is opening up the moment we decide to heal it, and that we can understand other trauma survivors, that this is not coming from I heal you from here, and that it is from here to here. I have not experienced your trauma, I have experienced my trauma, and I know what it feels like to be traumatized deeply. And I just
empathy is I think empathy is massively powerful, but actually a lot of it is, you know, I used to think that was the only way to help someone be seen, was to feel their pain. And actually I've learned over the years that that's just not necessary. You know, you can empathize with someone, but actually it's their pain to feel, it's their pain to work through. You can acknowledge and see them in their pain, and actually most often the most powerful thing you can do is just stand there and witness them and hold them and say, I am here with you, I will support you, but you've got to do the work. And you know, and for myself as well, you know, just acknowledging the parts of me that were hurting, and that's been so, it's such an underrated power, just being seen for who you are in your entirety. It's huge.
It's huge. It's huge, and it's something a lot of people never have experienced.
It's definitely something that I try and bring into my sessions, is that, you know, all of you is welcome here. There is, you know, it doesn't matter, whatever comes up, you know. And I've always said that I always kind of knew that I have experienced a wide range of trauma so that I could connect with a wide group of people and be able to say, I understand, you know. And that's the thing, is having someone get it on some level, so that, again, so that you don't feel alone in what you're experiencing.
Yeah. And this is interesting, because this is nearly my last question. So do you think that different people channel different messages?
I think that different people are connected to different energies, 100%. And it depends on, and that's a totally individual process. I think your guides can change, but you find who you're meant to work with, and you find, you know, you will channel the messages for the people that need to find you, that need those messages. And again, that's definitely something that I've learned, is to not try and be pushing to try and find people all the time. I just stay in my lane, doing what I'm going to do, and whoever needs me will find me. And I've had people be like, I don't know how I found you, but you came up, or you know, that's the thing. And again, trusting that whoever's going to find you is going to find you, and that's exactly right. And everybody has their person.
Yeah.
And it just, you know, it's whoever presents at that time.
Yeah.
You just go with that opportunity and flow with it.
Yeah, I can totally relate. This is the law of attraction. We attract the clients, and they are attracted by our energy, and it's an energy question, an experience question.
And that's the thing, and so much by, you know, when we can be authentically ourselves and not try and hide who we are or what we're doing or what we're about, or trying to be like someone else, I definitely saw a big shift in the amount of clients that I was receiving as soon as I got really strong in myself and wasn't, you know, wavering or worrying about trying to be like anybody else. I was like, no, this is my gig, this is my experience, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm going to do. And, you know, and that's thing, just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I do on social media. I just talk about my life and my clients and my experiences, and cool. If you like it, great. If you don't follow it. Like, that's the beauty of it. Like, you know.
Yeah, but this is for me, you know, the resonance point. You know, I resonate with your posts, and they're touching me, because there's so much topics in that I can relate to. And I think this is how I found all the people I worked with, who gave me sessions as well, that I wrote articles or something about them. And I was so, wow, I can I can relate, and I have the feeling they will understand me.
Yeah.
Mm. And now a last question, if you like to, a little example of your channeling abilities. So the video will come out at the end of July, and this year was energetically massive. The first half, I don't know if you experienced it like that as well. Do you have a feeling? Can you tune in how the second half will unfold?
I can't speak for my feeling. It was fun. I had my birthday. I turned 34 at the weekend, and it did feel like there was a big shift for me, and it really felt like freedom, and fun, and just really living again. And I just think, I think there has been so much oppression. Freedom feels like a big one. And whether that's individually or collectively, I feel like there's a push towards that. So whatever that means for you, go for it, really.
I can relate to that. I have the feeling July will be massive. There will be a lot of revelations, and that this freedom will come out of our own decision to come in freedom and peace with ourselves, and that we will create a ripple effect with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, we create our own prisons. We are free to do whatever we want all the time. And that's definitely, something that's been massively liberating for me. I just go, well, it's my life. Like it's that, and there was a moment, I don't know when, a few months ago, I kind of worked out, I had a big thing about attachment, and I sort of realized I was like, the only person that is in my life the whole way through is me. And the only connection, the number one connection in my life needs to be me and God. And anything else is going to come and go no matter what. And there was just this massive moment of like being able to let go of everything and everyone that I had been so tightly trying to grip onto through fear of losing them. I had lost myself because I was trying to hold on to them so deeply. And and that's massively helped me to just crack on and actually just be happy and find freedom in so many ways. And if I ever feel stuck, or I just go, I can just change this. Because it's
this is really, but it is, when I listen to you, I can, at this moment of time where I am now, totally relate to that. And I heard that some years ago, and it was mind-blowing for me, and I was so, no, it's not possible. How I'm totally dependent on work, on money, on my environment, on other people. And to come to that point that you decide and you create your life, it's huge. It's huge. And I think this is how we heal the world. The more people are understanding that and living the life they create and they're happy in, they are examples, and this will grow. And as we are this, whatever you will call us, light, love, workers, however, people who have this awareness and start to embody and live this all over the world. So this is growing and connecting and growing and connecting. And this, I'm amazed by that. I'm amazed what happened in the last 2 years, how many cracks the system got and how many people are really starting to understand that all where they caged in, I will not say it's their own creation, because a part is this part we created as children to save us. So this is not so easy to crack it. But even then, when you go to this point, we have created as children in an amazing way these cages for ourselves that saved our lives at that moment of time. What is amazing. So we can recreate them little by little, step by step.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's just about not trying to push for something, because everything's going to happen exactly when it's going to happen. And if you think you're ready and something's not coming, you're not ready, you know. And it's just, again, it's just going, okay, cool, just let go. You know, and yeah, I think it's just, you know, if everybody just kind of, I just live my life and people want to come in and be a part of it, great. Like, you know, I'm always working to be the best person that I can be, so that I can love myself and love other people to the best of my ability, because I know and have lived that makes life better for myself and others. And, you know, and that's the thing, like, you know, we talk about channeling and whatever and having a gift, but actually I'm a prime example that you can be completely shut off to it, and then it can just turn on, you know. So if someone's a bit interested in it, it's about finding the way to open yourself up to it. It's available to everybody because we're all connected into the big mushy life soup that is the universe, you know. So it's just it's just whether what do you want to be.
Thank you. This is amazing last word. So I could talk with you for hours, and maybe we come back with a talk about body concept and things like that. I would really love to do that and come to an end here for the channeling interview. I just would say that everybody who wants to connect with Theodora, you will find all the contact information in all the description boxes, and go in contact with her. The sessions are amazing. She's amazing. And thank you very much for watching until the next interview. And thank you, Theodora, for sharing so open and lively as well. So it was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Bye.
Bye.